game. It is Solar versus Bunny for a best-of-5 qualifying semifinals. Top 2 from today's brackets advance on to the main tournament, and bottom 1 from the lower brackets. So 3 from today's qualifier. Only 2, I believe, from the other Korean server qualifier, which will be happening next Monday and Tuesday, pretty sure. So that just about covers everything. As I said, it's best of 5. Let's put it up there. In the bottom right is the blue Terran. It's Bunny. In the top left is the red Zerg. It is Solar. Alright, so Bunny going for that Proxy Rocks is going to be scouted about as fast as possible. No. Oh, no. Just kidding. Nope. Nope. No, he isn't. Solar. It's going to be in the dark. If he had scouted the SCV on the way, if he had scouted the barracks already being built, the second one not quite yet started, SCV pool would have ruined Bunny. Ruined. But Bunny, playing very smart, perhaps knows Solar's individual scouting path of the Overlord, or this is what most Zergs do. Goes slightly off to the left. And now the Overlord has no idea. It sees nothing. Maybe if there's a third SCV, if it was a 3 racks attack, then that would have been the demise, but... Oh, no. No. So this is just a 2 racks, and we've been seeing so many more 3 rackses. It's a little surprising. So we're going to have a faster follow-up into the gases for Factory and Hellions. But you can still do a ton of damage. You can still win the game with this, especially if both bunkers get up, maybe even a third gets up. It is bad news. Now, Solar, his first sight was of the bunker, apparently? And with the Overlord towards the end. And the Marine Corps started firing. His options. Pull the drones with the Lings. Try and stop the bunkers from getting up, but it's too late for that. Build a Spine Crawler. Build 2 or 3 Spine Crawlers. Try and move them forward at the same time everything else does. Not gonna go for that either. Failing boats, not really an option too often chosen, but the option we see is the Roach Warren option. One that I know can get deadly, but generally I see kind of fail. Now, I will reserve calling exactly how this is going to go. Instead, just watch the game along with y'all, but we didn't see too many good Roach responses to some of the 2 axes and the other server qualifiers, so we'll see how Solar's does today. That hatchery is a goner, but at least the queen popped out for the creep tumor. I'm still going to use the larva from it to build the roaches and hopefully micro them away from the bunker. There we go. Nice little move from Bunny here is going to snipe that creep tumor. Doesn't seem like a lot, but can definitely help. There's going to be absolutely no creep spread by the time Solar tries to move in on these bunkers. 2 SCVs still going to be providing some repair, but actually Bunny could just try and leave and salvage if he really wanted to. But with only 2 Ravagers right now, it's kind of worthwhile to stay a little bit longer. When it gets up to 3 or 4, sorry, then I think you want to leave. Bunny's gonna kind of go in half and half, you know? Like, he's provided 1 Marine per bunker to scare maybe a Ravager, but then the Marines go home. So salvage on that bunker, barely no salvage on this one, looks like. But the Marines are gonna get home safely. Bit of a bold choice for Bunny. Okay, so he's adding a tech lab to the factory, but he already added one and did not go for a Cyclone. So yes, it is a bold choice from Bunny not to go for a Cyclone or even a tank, right? He could have definitely had a tank in time if he had used that first tech lab. Instead, he swapped it over, added another tech lab, which is a very slow-making building, so it could still be okay. But really, it looks like he's going to go for the A+ defense of a Banshee, because the Cyclone could perhaps be pounced upon, something you don't want, but the repair a little late to the tech lab. It's not the cloak dying that he's so much worried about as it is letting these units in and starting to do damage, because he really thought he's going to have more time, probably a few more seconds. But still a choke to have to push yourself through, and the Cyclone does pop out to take out 2 of the units here, and in fact the Cyclone even lives. Banshee will help take out everything else, and the SCV pool seemed like it was a very appropriate one. Only loses 6 SCVs in total, saves the Cyclone, has a Banshee now to help out, Could add the tech lab again if you so desired, but if you just want a defensive Banshee against any further roach attacks, well, that works out as well. So Bunny finds himself down exactly 6 workers, so that goes down, but that is fine for someone who is going to very, very, very soon be on 2 bases with 2 mules. As you can see here, Solar is still rebuilding his natural hatchery, almost done, but let's keep in mind that not only is his hatchery late with some very inefficient mining, he also made a decent amount of units with a decent amount of gas, so his actual mineral mining is not that impressive. Three drones go down. That's unexpected. I didn't think the Banshee's gonna do anything, but not only getting 3 roaches, it looks like, but also 3 drone kills. Didn't even notice. I don't know what I was thinking. This was still the barracks or something, but NSCV developed an engineering bay to block a would-be 3rd base. Now forcing Solar to take this one, but funnily enough, Kairos Junction, sometimes this is the better one, or it can look like the better one. We see Zerg take the other one almost always, but it's like, this is a really nasty spot to cover. So I'm always surprised when the Zerg player doesn't take this one. But I guess this 3rd base also has its own trouble spots, right? Like, even though it's farther away, the tanks can't siege up here and hit this. They can still hit the drones, mining, gas, the gas geysers, and they still provide a fallback area for the Marines, upper ramp as well. So it's like neither side is really that super well protected. You're basically just like, I need to go ahead, hurry up my creep spread, get it far enough up there that I don't have to die immediately to whatever tank push comes my way. So Lair's almost done. Wasn't truly necessary as there was no cloak, but it's not like it was a really fast Lair, and you're gonna want roach speed anyways. 1-1's on the way. Liberator not gonna do as much damage as Cures earlier today, am I right, guys? No spore crawlers were made quite yet, so I guess the Overseer was actually... It could have been a very big deal if there was cloaked Banshees, and that could have been nasty, but just a Liberator. It is going to be bio. I guess I didn't mention that. We saw TY do 2 mech games in a row, one off the back of a 3-rack, so you know, there are 2 options, and this is bio. 1-1, combat shields, medevac's already done, 3rd CC, down on location. Solar does have more workers, up by 16 is a decent amount, but 3 base to 3 base, and Bunny with no harassment headed his way. Not even any lings in the field quite yet, right? Is looking to be rather good to go in this game. Solar dependent on roaches might have a bit of a difficult time dealing with the medevac drops. How many queens does he have? Only 4 queens, so 1 extra for creep spread. So the creep spread won't be that impressive, and then maybe only 2 at a time, only 1 at a time, most of the cases to even take care of the medevacs. They should just be able to beep bop around all the live long day, really. Get a couple drones here, get a gas geyser there, kill a queen over here, maybe kill a 4th base even if he was on the other side of the map. I mean, it's going to be a little nasty to deal with unless Solar gets that really proper positioning. But a Viking has been perusing around. It was made after the cloak was canceled. It only got 2 overlords, but there weren't any over to the top right, which is why I was bringing it up. The one that could have gone to the top right just dies here, along with a Roach Warren. Nice little snipe there from Bunny, who, by the way, just in general, has looked rather good in every single server qualifier he's played in. And now he's finally on his home server. There is a very high chance he is one of the ones that qualify. So, Solar looks like he might not be so upset about the Roach Warren going down. He could just go into a Hydra stand and go to Ling Bang Ling Hydra with a missile upgrade instead of a melee upgrade. But he is also adding on a melee upgrade, and as such, I think that is going to be the option of not replacing the Roach Warren, of not going into roaches, just using them as a bit of a backbone to the army. Maybe this is his plan all along. Maybe this is a bit of a accommodation considering how the events have gone. But either way, we're going into an infestation pit, not a Hydralisk den, and I do believe Fast Hive is on the way here. Seems to be a somewhat popular choice on this map, or maybe I just coincidentally cast another Solar game a little while ago. This Viking, I thought it died in the middle of the map when I last looked at it. It's still alive, but barely. It gets another Overlord. Marines thought about tangoing a little bit longer, but just end up getting out of there. We're on top of Marauder production now. We got some tanks. 2-2 is on the way at a pretty decent time. Bunny looking for a very strong pre-hive push, especially if you get to scout on the hive, you would be even more eager to go for it. So that is started up now. Whether it's a scan or a couple medevac drops seeing it, it would be really nice to know the timing. And I'm guessing Bunny's going to be a little, you know, on top of that. He's going to be a little paranoid of any fast hive want to hit before that has actually really come to fruition. So, you know, it's a hive. We got melee upgrades on the way. Going to be an Ultralisk Cavern. You still have to wait for the Ultralisk Cavern, wait for the chitinous plating, and wait for the Ultras. It's still a long time to go, but if Bunny's not already gearing up to hit just a little bit before his 2-2, so it hits with 2-2, then if you saw the hive, you certainly would be. There we go. A little bit sooner than I actually expected. This is way before 2-2 is done, but might just be looking to clean up some creep spread. The Ling run by was being held for a long time, finally finds an opening, but not too big of one, just kills the tank and delays the 4cc. Drop on the main base does some decent work here. This trades out with some Lings. Drop over here is just simply pushed aside, but the attack over to the right side is the really big one. And Bunny does actually attack with it. Now just clearing up some creep spread. Goes for the 5th base cancel. Gets a few more drones. This damn Viking on hold position, hopefully, is going to continue to harass these overlords. And things are looking a little bit scary for Solar, but finally those Banelings crash in. Ravager's Corrosive Bile takes on their tank, but the high ground tanks, oh my god, such a good position for Terran. If it wasn't that position, it'd be this one over here anyways. And Bunny still has these drops ready to go, so he is just attacking every which way. Naturally even being attacked with whatever is left over from the first 2 medevacs, which is only 2 Marines, of being healed with almost 2-2 upgrades. They are taking on a single Queen, which is annoying. Everything that Solar has to deal with is taking his eyes off the main engagement and opening up more pathways for later on, so he just taps out. Flip at the table. You're already in a pretty bad spot, an awkward spot at the very least, after dealing with the T-Rex as you did, and then everything else not going your way. You just tap out, shake that game off. It's a best of 5. And you just say, oh, you Terran players with your T-Rexes. Oh, you. Thank you, Raving Madness, for that Twitch Prime sub. Along with Matt Pike, as well as Alice for the gifted sub to Princess Jita. Thank you all kindly. Maps are done by Vito. So the next map should be up very soon. I think Wardy might forget that he's making the maps because Solar asked for someone else to do it. Or maybe Bunny was making it, I don't know. Parasite's gonna be game number 2, and if I don't see Cyclone mech on this map, then I'll eat a shoe. No, I'm just kidding. I'd never promised such a thing. Uh-oh, we have an imposter here. Someone's trying to impersonate Emil. You're probably gonna say, well, why would anyone do that? If he was in the last game's lobby, then he didn't do anything. But there is a strong chance that it's someone connected to betting. Which, unfortunately, still kind of plagues Korean tournaments every now and again. Doesn't mean anyone is doing the dirty, bad word that we don't bring up. From the player, we don't bring up. But it is still not great. Alright. Game number 2 in the top left. I know my directions. It is the Red Terran Bunny for Blazer. The bottom right has the blue Zerg. It is Solar, who is on a team, but what is it? Hold on here. Oh, no, he's not. That's right. Okay, my bad. So he was on Affinity Gaming, but that contract ended last year. Okay. So looking for team. So no 2 racks to start things off on Parasite, which, you know, is not something that only TUI does. You see a decent number of Terran 2 racks maps, 3 racks, whatever. Early racks, proxy racks maps. Because of the map, right? Not just because it's like throw it in for best of 5, or this is what I chose to do this game for no reason. Sometimes it is because they know the map is maybe not favorable, and then we'll get a head start. Sometimes there's got to be a few Terrans that look at this map like that. But from what we've seen, Mech is rather strong here. Can be strong. And to say that, you know, you're forced to do a cheese on a map because it is that bad for your race it's not something we've had to say in a while in StarCraft 2. I mean, not since Daedalus forced Protoss to block their natural with a Nexus. Good times. Yeah. And with the veto process being what it is, because this isn't like a default first map tournament or something like that, then even if there was a really bad map like Stasis, which seems to be the most vetoed, right? You would just veto it. You wouldn't have to deal with whatever inherent imbalances you think exists on it. Speaking of maps, by the way, Team Like a Map contest is running again, so make sure to... I guess it's just been announced, so there's nothing to actually check out quite yet, but it's always good to support the map-making scene. Actually vote in it, right? Look to be judges if you're of particular notes. Maybe apply for that. And just show your appreciation. No, why? Show your appreciation for people actually still paying attention to maps, because it's something that we take for granted a lot of the time. Only brought up if it's bad, and that's just not a good place to be. Reaper hops up in here, not too worried about a pool first looks because it did not go to the natural first, but is rewarded by, I guess, temporarily mining denial. Sure, whatever. Not really rewarded a lot, to be honest, but sometimes because it is much more often, the Reaper goes to the natural and it's just simply deflected by a queen. Sometimes you go to the main and the Zerg's like, what the hell, and they lose a drone. Not what happens here, but Bunny's not rewarded. He's not flooded with lings as he goes in the main base, which was the possible option. He's gonna go into Cloaked Banshees. Cloak will finish now as the Banshee arrives at the opponent's base, since you go for a Viking first. It would also give him a Viking, which we know can be very, very useful, especially if you're gonna go into bio, but that still remains to be seen. I'm going to kind of start the countdown on the clock that it is going to be mech, because we don't have a tech up on the barracks yet. But he chooses to go for a cancel on the Cloak. That's still, like, Solar's still gonna be looking at that like, okay, well then why do you have a tech lab, right? Like, not too many Terrans go for early Ravens. And while we do have a tech lab started on the barracks, it was really coincidentally timed with the Overlord moving in, so I'm still not certain that's gonna mean it's gonna be Stim. Armory is here, so there's definitely gonna be a Hellbat attack with Banshees, but they won't have Cloak anymore. They're gonna be like as if you hadn't made the Viking, right? So they're gonna be a little late to that. Queens could maybe target fire it in time, especially if there's enough of them on the front lines. Which Solar is adding on another queen, up to 6 now total. No more in production, so only 3 extra on the front line. That's maybe a little low against a Hellbat Banshee attack. We'll see how it goes. Spire is on the way. So this is one of the faster Spires you can really expect nowadays, right? Before upgrades. Before even a Baneling Nest? Yep. 2-base Spire is not really a thing anymore. But we have more drones. More drones. A single Spore Crawler. Not a lot to deal with the Hellbat push, and this is going to be bad news for Solar. Doesn't have a lot of lings here either. He's going to start a Spine Crawler, bring forward all of his queens, as he needs all of his queens. They don't do a lot of DPS, but you got 6 going here, and they do target fire down that Banshee before Cloak was done, but the Overseer was ready to go anyways. Unfortunately, the queens did not start target firing or attacking in general until pretty late into the party here. The Hellbats are already deep into the natural and getting on top of the queens. Not much room to maneuver, even if they're on creep spread. So a lot of them have already gone down. Another one on the top side is going to go down. Bottom 2 are very low, and unfortunately, the Spire and Spinecrawler both not providing a lot of room for the drones to maneuver. Spine finishes, Spire finishes, something that's Team or Bunny's going to be very happy that he scouted, because there had to be something to follow up here to help him against that. He should have Marines in time, he should have missile turrets in time. He does a lot of damage, certainly a worthwhile Hellbat attack. Even the Vi can get a couple of chip damage in here. And with all the queens basically dead, no Spore Crawl in the natural, the Banshee comes in for a couple of last second hits. Well, the Overseer's here, another queen has popped out. Not going to be as much as Bunny was hoping for. But this is good stuff, man. 16 drones are dead. Not a lot of promise for the Mutas to do damage if they chase down this one Banshee. Nope, not quite. Queens are dead. So many of them. There's not going to be a lot of creep spread. It did end up being bio, so he did start stim kind of with that Hellbat attack. So he's going to have anti-air. Not enough yet to just purely rely on Marines. He's going to need more than 8 Marines here. But that's why he's building a missile turret. That's why he has Widow Mines on the way. Missile turret at the natural already done. One at the supply depot wall could have made him extra safe. But considering that his production is strong enough, right? 3 barracks at least. The Mutas were not really going to snowball. Because that's what Solar really wanted to do. You know, the first 8 Mutas are never that much of a threat usually. But if they can kind of start a snowball effect, they stop one missile turret from finishing. They get a couple Marines here. They catch the Widow Mines before they're burrowed. Suddenly there's 16 Mutas, and the Terran player has never moved out from their base. Like, it can really go bad. But Solar was already cut down a peg or two, and his Mutas really are what he's got. He's going to use them to the best visibility, but already losing 2 to a couple Widow Mines. Not a fantastic start. Does find the 3rd CC completely unguarded. Does a lot of damage to it. Easy repair, easy. Overseer taken down, but here come the Lings, and this is where things can really go haywire for the Marine-based play. Instant pickup on the medevac from the Terran player. 3rd CC should live here as it was repaired a little bit. Missile turret helping out, barely saves the medevac and the Marines inside of it. Widow Mine's going to help out both against the Mutas and the Lings, but honestly, I think it's going to prefer to go on the Lings. Solo choosing to go for a very dedicated attack, is only doing this off of 43 SCVs, but I think Bunny realizes what's going on. At least he should realize that was a lot of Lings to see. And there are going to be Banelings behind this. Not speed Banelings, but what is there to take care of them? You can only split so much when you're up to 31 Marines against 18 Banelings. These Widow Mines not going to get the strongest shots, probably, but if they do, it's going to be on top of the Banelings. On the Banelings! Oh, they only get the one. Another one is just, oh, no, oh, it's still alive. It's still alive. Can't really micro it, though. Can't lift it and move it back down because, well, it died. There we go. Gets a decent hits, but more importantly, Bunny was saving the SCVs. He was spreading out his Marines, and he has a missile turret to help out against the Mutas, so it's really only about dealing with the Lings, which he does, and wins the game because of it. GG. Bunny up 2-0 in this qualifying match. I said it in the first game. He looks strong in the other server qualifiers. And now with the server preference on his side, no longer having to face the likes of Innovation or Mara or Patience. They already qualified in the NA server. I think he's going to make it through, guys. What's the point of running 7 to 8 streams for this if you all show the same matchup? Yeah, so usually the tournament organizers make sure at least the English casters differ on the games. But what that means is that one person has a very incomplete broadcast where they don't get to cast 2 of the main qualifiers, or usually all 3 is usually the rules. So usually one person's designated like the lead. In this case, they let everyone do the same. And obviously foreign language casters being mostly only 1 language per broadcast. We have Korean, we have Chinese, we have French, German, something else I don't know. They're all going to want to cast the qualifying match. So in this case, you have 2 different English casters to listen to. You know, choose your preference. Not always going to be the case. For everyone else's stream, they're the only streamer for that language, and they should be casting the qualifying matches. Could be the last game here. Well, no, why? In the bottom left is the red Zerg. It is Solar. In the top right is the blue Terran. He is Bunny. Yes, we have a Portuguese caster as well. There you go. The other semifinal, which everyone will be casting, is going to be Trap versus Dark, by the way. It's the ZVP up top side. The lower bracket is continuing along, chugging along here. Who is out already while we watch this normal game unfold? We have SOS, he's out. Zest is out. Ragnarok is out. Hero is out. Alive is out. Stats is out. And TY is out. Currently in the lower bracket, round of 4, number 1, we have Classic versus Rogue. And Sue versus, I guess, the loser... Oh, no. No, sorry. So Sue versus the winner of Cure versus Gimme Hell. There we go. Those will probably go on without, or definitely for sure go out without casters. And probably the round of 4, number 2 will go on without casters as well. Or most of it. But whoever loses from the semifinals of the winner's bracket gets sent down to the loser's semifinals, which is 1 match away from a qualifying match. It never sounds pretty when you say it out loud, so if you want to check out the bracket yourself to understand it visually, I'm right there with you. So it's type ! bracket if you want to do that. Something was sent to kill the drones during all that too. I didn't even see that. That was a really good choice from Solar though last game. You know, the action was happening, so I didn't get to talk about it, but I think Solar's best choice was to go for that specific type of attack. It's something that I can almost guarantee he didn't plan on doing when he decided to go for a faster Spire, but being what it was, taking so much damage, you know, the time it took to clean a Hellbat attack up was always has to be considered. The amount of damage it did drone-wise as well as queen-wise was obviously huge. Like, he was forced to do some type of all-in, and there's usually not a lot of all-ins based around muta tech, because it's muta tech, right? You get tech for it, you usually are looking towards a macro game. There were certainly times in Heart of the Swarm where you would literally race up to 1-1 centrifugal hooks with a decent amount of mutas, not like a ton, and you would just all-in. You would just keep throwing bodies at the Terran player. And it was really hard to be able to scout that, because you'd literally have to scout the army coming across the map. You would maybe get a scout in the 4th base drones, but you know, that was kind of it. I remember quite a few really angry days where that would happen to me over and over again. But anyways, so Solar, you know, not with upgrades obviously, and not with centrifugal hooks, still had the same idea where there is a chance you overwhelm the opponent because you just have so much stuff and they don't have a lot of splash quite yet. Tanks take time to reduce. They're more worried about getting enough Marines with the mutas than they are about maybe getting enough Widow Mines or tanks to deal with anything on the ground. And there's always a chance that Widow Mines in particular will splash back and kill the Terran's own army. So it's a good idea, and it almost worked. But Bunny had the right responses as well. So Bunny just looking quite good in different manners. You know, his cheese, his build orders are working out. And his decision-making is working out quite well. Pretty bold with the first two Hellions, but there's nothing going on the other side of the map with the scouting lane, so he's allowed to do this. Fairly early Baneling Nest, but I do believe this is only because he took damage from a Hellbent attack earlier, so this is more of a defensive Baneling Nest. And yeah, there's the lair as well. The Overseer, or Overlord, sorry, is going to get in here and see, once again, a tech lab on the starport, but doesn't see the Liberator pop out and could assume that it's a Viking, as it's been in the past. He may also have some assumption, right? You have to be cautious that it will be Banshees as well, so he might kind of quote-unquote waste money on more than one Spore Crawler. When against a Liberator, really you need like one Spore Crawler and then good APM and minimap awareness to bring Queens elsewhere. But he doesn't overmake Spore Crawlers, just the one. Not at third base though, and that's what Liberator hits first. Queens are a little too far forward dealing with the Hellions, so. Speaking of which, they race in, looking to kill the drones that are usually pulled in a line away from the Liberators. It's going to be a real nasty attack. But Solar didn't really line them up so much. Spore Crawler was built in the main. Yeah, in the main over here. No, there's one of the natural as well. So that's going to take care of Liberator harassment if the Queens don't. But even loses a Queen that accidentally runs back in. Drones over here do get Roasty-Toasty from the Hellions. The Lings are a little late to the party. Only 4 Hellions end up doing quite a bit of damage. Did he only make 4 Hellions? Oh, no, he made 6. He lost 2. Okay. All right. Still, leaving with 4 Hellions and a Reaper means that you can defend a decent amount of Lings if they choose to try and deny your third base, which is on the way, turning into an orbital. Bio, once again, off of the 3 barracks so far, is going to have a nicely timed little medevac attack around 6:30. Solar's creep spread is usually, you know, if you're going to go for the drones, you're not going to get a lot of creep spread. Not that you're going to get a lot of creep spread in the first place, but yeah, it should be getting pushed out now that the Queens can go back to their jobs. There you go. 1-1's going to be ahead for Bunny compared to Solar, but not by too much. More importantly, centrifugal hooks will be done well in time for any type of push and even a little bit of help with the drops, right? Bunny's adding on tanks, not Widow Mines. Something that does change up the pace of the attacks a little bit, as well as when exactly a timing will come down. But like instead of one kind of bigger push with tanks, you now have, if you went for Widow Mines, you went for a couple multiple pushes, multiple drops, constant pushes. Might be a little more of a slower game. And he is trying to continue to build tanks. He just supply blocks, so oops. 2 more barracks, and Bunny is moving along here with everything he's got, including only 1 tank. So this is not a super common push. 1 tank doesn't seem to add a lot, but if it's in a good position and you're catching the Zerg player droning still, then of course it can be very good. A drop does distract a good number of Lings. As he realizes there's an attack off to the top side, though he pulls the rest of them away. Centrifugal Hooks is done. Armory's not done, so no Hellbats to help out here. But the tank, ooh, nice target fire with the tank, and another shot even. Takes care of the Banelings despite being on creep, despite having that speed. And did Bunny just win with this push? No, not quite, but he did a lot of damage. Takes down Queens, Banelings, some drones. Not quite, but still, a nice amount of Lings. He had that 1-1. If he had combat shields, he might have been able to stay around a little bit longer. But once again, with that push doing what it did not clear up the creep spread, and that's something that Solar can at least breathe a little bit easier on, despite losing a good number of Queens. He's replacing them currently. 3 more on the way. His own upgrades finally finishing up as well, so that timing did help, certainly, Bunny a little bit. That 1 tank ended up being quite worth with the target fire and the Banelings, too, but now it's going to be more about, you know, later on with more tanks. And we might even see a second factory soon enough, as you get the gas for it, with the gas is set up. He actually took 1 gas and isn't even saturating it, though, so maybe not his plan. There'll be a lot more about the barracks production then. Creep finally being cleaned up by a couple of medevacs in the middle. Well, medevacs can do it, but you know what I mean. So Solar can no longer rely purely on that, you know, going out of control. But at least he rebuilt his Queens. We do have Bunny transferring over into Drilling Claws, and he does add on that second factory, but with, you know, not being double tanks, he doesn't really need all the gas immediately. Pretty fast 4th base as well with these barracks. Left side being cleaned up, right side being cleaned up, maybe even a canceled hatchery if he gets lucky. No luck required, just goes right for it. He's able to get it. Nicely done. Solar might anticipate the transition. There are certainly a lot of Terrans who only go for 1 or 2 tanks. In this case, Bunny went for 1 with a push and then 2 for the defense. And then you go into Widow Mines. It'll be very helpful. It's going to have a decent number of Marauders with 2 extra tech labs here. So you can really start making this beefy composition. One that just doesn't just simply die to a couple of Banelings that you didn't quite account for. And also provides a nice little wall, too. So when you really do a push, like an actual push on one of these bases, you have a wall of Marauders and a decent number of Widow Mines for the Zerg player to micro against. Sorely getting a little sick and tired of being the only one defending is going to send some Lings over to the top side. And since he's only dealing with medevac harassment, it is a good opportunity to do so. And just set them up somewhere off to the side. I mean, that's a lot of Lings. That's a ton of Lings, but... that means it does a ton of damage really quickly, right? It's going to find a 4th base being turned into a planetary, hopefully, for the Zerg player. I think a Ling just saw that it was intending to be taken with SCVs being moved over there. That is going to be pretty much a pop-off of at least, what, 10 SCVs? The command center is going to be lifted, you know, obviously. And maybe it's even a little mistimed because it could be turning into a planetary. But it does find these SCVs. It takes Bunny's eyes off his Bane attack, perhaps, although he's already sieged up and cleaning up creep spread. And Solar's not quite ready to defend. Also dealing with a drop over the right side, so his army's out of position. And that will be a secure location for Bunny just to chill out while he deals with this, which was cleaned up actually pretty quickly, but still 11 SCVs went down. So good with my guesses. You can praise me later, guys. While this was going on, while Bunny was preparing for this attack, I was talking about his composition, Solar was finishing up that hive. He's got Ultras on the way with Chitinous planting, Adrenal Glands, and even fitting in a 200-200 Spire, so a lot of resources going into tech, but he's still got a decent army, and he still is going to have those Ultras. Medevac finally cleaned up after dealing a little bit more damage to the drone line. Single drop goes to the main base where it's hoping to find nothing to defend, and I think there's not much there. I'm looking towards more these Widow Mines. Okay, there it goes. He starts to spread them out a little bit. They find a queen. The medevac's severely injured, so it might not be able to make it out alive. But not only does it find a queen and kills it, it finds the hive tech, sees the options that are available. Might even notice the Spire wiggly jiggly, so it's not going to be a faster Greater Spire. But a huge Ling run by catches a couple of units off guard. They do tuck into a corner. Unfortunately, they find the natural open, and these are Adrenal Gland Lings, even though they're only 2-2. And you know what? Bunny hasn't even started his 3-3, so that's just a straight-up mistake from a Terran player, who usually speeds up to at least the +3 attack. Really nice stuff here from Solar to bring back this game. A game that he needs to bring back if he wants to have a chance at qualifying the easy path anyways in that winner's bracket. 30 SCVs go down, and Bunny's not exactly, you know, rolling in cash and extra command centers, so that is considerable. It also heavily sought out this push, but Bunny did what he could while he was dealing with that. He did clean up some creep spread. He did take out the base, so I guess it didn't really stall out the push, but it could have been perhaps worse if Bunny was just purely paying attention to it. So it still has to deal with this, though, so now that things are calmed down, Bunny's going to go ahead and push forward here, clean up more creep spread, burrow those Widow Mines, and Solar still has to deal with that. Nice little split of units, takes out most of them, to be honest, and the Ultras could always try and soak up whatever's left over as well. Widow Mines do ignore armor. They have that spell damage. There's not a lot of Widow Mines to really account for that. We also have a decent amount of transfuses, so these Ultras really are quite scary. Another run by, however, a little bit chunkier. It's got that chunk with the Ultras. And then here comes the Lings to complicate matters. 30C is simply going to be lifted. SCV's not exactly being evacuated so much as just going to be left to die. Big drop to the bottom right, though. Bunny's going to try and get some damage done. Punish Solar for putting so many of his units on the other side of the map, and that might just work out here. He's going to find the speed upgrade on the Ultras as well as the Spire, so no option for Mutas, Corruptors, or potential Greater Spire later on. A lot of work damage being done here, but Solar grabs 32 SCVs, plus the 4th command center. No planetary for Bunny, but Solar's going to lose a lot of tech here. He's going to lose the hive. He might eventually lose the space. No, 2 Ultras protecting it. That leaves Solar on 3 bases to Bunny's 3. I guess it is either even. And Bunny lost SCVs, but Solar lost tech. Hold on here. Hold on. The hive is going to live. The hive will live, and the Spore Crawler gets a nice little kill there on that one last medevac. So there's not too much that evacuates from here. But the drop goes to the very bottom right, goes to the middle bottom right, or whatever you want to call it. Adds a couple more drones to the kill counter. 31 drones dead to, I think it was like 32 of Bunny, right? In total, Solar grabbing more because he's had more of those run-bys, but we all know how mules work, right? Bunny at only 37 SCVs is actually probably going to be at a higher economy once everything is settled. Once he can actually start throwing down those mules. Also takes out a couple of remaining ultras, and once they're alone, they do become much easier to take out. Things are really scrappy here. Bunny now finally finishing up his 3-3 is going to be very important to the scrappiness of the game. That's why Terran players really, and they're good at base races and they're good at scrappy games. Upgrades really do a lot. Looks like Solar was able to get a couple Corruptors, and I guess the Spire did live, right? He could also try and get some Vipers, which is exactly what he's trying to do. They're helping thin out the medevac count, maybe, but the medevac count currently racing to heal all the bio that's racing away from the Ultras. The Ultra is missing a couple transfuses. Actually, all the transfuses really are being missed here. The Queen's maybe a little bit too far behind, or Solar microing somewhere else. So Bunny's control looking quite good. Solar also perhaps forgetting about these Lings here, which would have been amazing. If they had come from behind and wrapped around the army, those Ultras would have been chomping down on every single unit despite the upgrades. Despite Bunny's best attempts to micro. Whether he forgot about it or decided a run-by was better, I don't know. The run-by doesn't end up doing too much more. Well, actually 13 ICVs. It's still 3 mules, which is what I was thinking of, but 24 workers is not great. And it's not like the mules are getting the best mining possible, so Bunny's trying to move over to a healthier mining base. He scans, sees the army, sees an attack on the way. There's no Widow Mines to help out with the splash, so the Lings and Bailings truly being dangerous here. No, there's 2 Widow Mines, but they've already popped off. Bunny might just be overwhelmed with sheer numbers. If it was just Ultras, he can micro all the livelong day, but Ling, Baneling, not so much, and Bunny does end up falling to game number 3. That still leaves him up a game, but it means it's no easy peasy 3-0 for the Terran. The game continues. See if there's any updates to the bottom bracket. Nope, not yet. One snipe can kill an Overlord, Overseer. Does it? Or does the Overseer barely survive? I'm actually... I feel like it's the latter. Not too important. Damn it. The control to disable sound is very similar to the control to put the best of 5 up, so it's again. Alright, it's another proxy in the top right. As the red Terran, he is Blazer's Bunny. In the bottom left, currently teamless, it is the blue Zerg Solar. Unless there's a new team that I forgot about. It's currently not listed on Wikipedia though, and that's usually pretty up to date. It is going to be a 3 racks. This SCV does not return back to mining. Solar went for a pool first in one of these games. Game or 2 or 3, I don't remember, because he was 2 racks in the first game, right? But does not do so this time, and his Overlord is not gonna see it. Okay, depends on where Bunny puts it. Depends on where Bunny puts the 3 racks. Is he gonna try and put it behind a fake out an Overlord that's gonna come over here, or does he put it right next to the 2 racks? And that's exactly what he does. So Solar does not realize what's going on. Didn't see the SCV, doesn't see the barracks. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. It's 3 racks this time as well, so 1 more Marine per production round. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be. It can mean that instead of evacuating after the 2 bunkers kill the hatchery like in number 1, he instead jumps on top of the Roach Ravager composition that Solar chose to go for, which he could do again here in this game. He's gonna have to realize what it is first before we see his decision. This Overlord comes back to scout for exactly this, so at least have some warning, and that's how he saw the bunker last time, I believe. So he sees the SCVs in the Marine. What a surprise. No. It is a bit of a surprise. There's no saying when exactly Terran will throw out 2 or 3 racks, and it is going to be at 3 racks, which we'll figure out very, very soon. The more aggressive bunker on the high ground might already indicate that it is a 3 racks. If it was a 4 racks, I don't think you see bunkers at all. You just see them running into the main base. But if that bunker gets up on the high ground, that's really weird. That's going to be a really weird game. Oh my god, Bunny's going to maybe push for it. He's going to push for it. No drones are being pulled to help the Lings out, but Lings are coming forward bit by bit. 2 Queens about to pop out as well. That bunker on the high ground looks like it might just finish up here. Uh-oh. Ooh, that makes things really weird. Not that it's helping kill the hatchery or in range of anything over here, but it is stopping reinforcements, and that is usually how the Zerg player eventually deals with this, right? Is that they bulk up all their Lings and Banelings, or their Lings and Queens, and then they push towards the 2 bunkers that are at least right next to each other. This is a little more weird. Marines even come from the top bunker to help out because they have the high ground vision, obviously. And that's not looking so great for the trade, but this is a more committed barracks push, remember, so if Solar can clean this up, then things could still look good, but he's not cleaning it up. In fact, he's losing his Queens. The Transfuse barely comes out in time, which means the bunker does have to be salvaged. Doesn't get the salvage, but still got a Queen, got a lot of Lings. The drones have not been mining for some time, and that is most of Solar's drones, so he cannot get a lot more from here, and I'm afraid this was just simply too good for the Terran player to actually play a macro game. He's still continuing to build Marines because his mineral line's not the one being harassed here. I mean, it's looking quite healthy, in fact. He's building more SCVs. He's also getting up to the gas to get to a factory in case Solar was able to break out and do some type of counter, but I'm afraid things are not looking good. Solar went for the bus. He had to, with a bunker on the high ground. I thought he was calling him something else starting with a D. And that's it. That's like when you try and you fail, that's going to be it for against T-Rax. So Solar's going to have one less desperate attempt. It's not the loser's bracket yet, so it's not the most desperate we'll see Solar. But it is the winner's bracket qualifying match, and you should try. Solar accusing Bunny of only playing all in, and think they're friends, so I think it's mostly for fun, but Bunny's saying it's a macro build. If it was a T-Rax, you could kind of make that argument, but a 3-Rax is a little more fitted. Yeah, Solar's gonna have the Baneling nest finish up, and he's gonna start making Banelings if he ever gets rid of these Marines. There we go. There's going to be so many Marines on the high ground that as long as there's any type of splitting, he should be good to go. 2 barracks still producing Marines near the natural are going to catch bits and pieces of Lings here and there. So not nearly as many reinforcements. And that's usually where the Baneling bust really comes into effect, is that the Banelings bust down the supply depot, but then the Lings cover everything else. So enough Banelings and a little then some, but not enough Lings. And that is it. GG. Bunny takes game number 4 to take the 3-1. Advance to the qualifier, or advance to the main tournament, sorry.